Thank you. The organization representing black farmers across the country opting out of President Trump's $12 billion Farmer Bridge Assistance Program. Action News 5 Sydney Gray heard from the organization and explains why.
This is where the Black Farmers and Agriculturalists Association is based here in Memphis. This group represents thousands of black farmers all across the country, and its president is calling out this particular funding, saying that it's racist.
Ordinarily, BFO would not be indifferent to the plight of all farmers.
But President Thomas Burrell says his organization had to take a stance against President Trump's new $12 billion Farmer Bridge Assistance Program.
In light of circumstances and events that have happened over the last several years, culminating in denying African American farmers and the sons and daughters of African American farmers the same rights and privileges that now the administration says it is going to make sure that it's guaranteed to farmers in general.
President Trump announced the new aid Monday. The money would be paid in late February.
We're going to make the farmers so strong, and I'm not even talking about financially, because they just want to be able to produce what they can produce, and we're going to make them so strong that it will be indeed a golden age for farmers.
But Burrell says the U.S. has not entered into trade agreements with African countries, nor does the $12 billion include farmers who harvest tobacco, sugarcane, peanut, pork, and livestock. Many of those farmers are black.
African Americans owned 20 million acres of land in 1910, but as a result of systemic discrimination, have lost virtually all of that land.
Burrell also notes $4 billion meant for minority farmers by the Biden administration due to discrimination. Money he says never made it to black farmers because white farmers, he says, filed lawsuits to stop the payments.
I think that it's time that fairness becomes, in a very simple word, something that the government would embrace. Fairness.
It's not a matter of don't give it to A. The question is, if you're going to give it to A, why are you not going to give it to B?
In downtown Memphis, Sydney Gray, Action News 5.
NABIFA plans to file an injunction against the Trump administration to stop the payments. In a response from the White House, they say, quote, the president's announcement reflects the president's commitment to helping our farmers who will have the support they need to bridge the gap between Biden's failures and the president's successful policies taking effect. Burrell said he'd be more than willing to meet with the president to discuss a solution.
Also, everybody says in the comments, Project 2025, didn't you read that? That's his platform. From my understanding, that wasn't his platform. That's not what he's running on. And I never thought I'd be on the political side of TikTok because it's definitely not something I'm interested in. I'm interested in the farm side of TikTok. Project 2025.
Shop.francesca.net to get your Leopards Ate My Face merch. Ahora en español.
So I saw a video where black farmers in Memphis were refusing the $12 billion stimulus from Trump because traditionally black farmers have been isolated from subsidies, from grants, things like that. Now, we're not here to debate history. It happened, right? I have black farmers in my family who were denied, but that's not why I'm here to have this conversation. I think it's hilarious because it goes back to what I was saying about me personally not wanting to take some of these government grants and loans because they come with strings attached, or me being black, I might have to jump through 15 other hurdles that my counterparts may not. And I'm not making this video to start a race war and have a conversation about race relations in my comments. I'm just saying, keep in mind the information I'm giving you is for all farmers in general, but specifically as it pertains to black farmers. I don't see enough of people who look like me doing what I'm trying to do, or even trying to get into the industry I'm trying to get into in farming because of situations like this. So if you, as a black person, white person, otherwise, whatever color you are here in America, if you have the opportunity to support a black farmer, I do implore you to do so. I'm not saying you got to compromise quality. If they're not hitting on nothing, they ain't hit on nothing. I'm not saying you got to go out of your way. If they come across you, they come across you. But understand the plight of farmers in general is bad, but farmers of color have it even worse, especially as it pertains to government stimulus, right? I told you government stimulus already is a hoax in and of itself, because the same government that gave or that wants to give $12 billion is the same government that won't shut down the monopolies that's making the cost of the inputs on the farmer go up, right? Like, they're not breaking up the people who aren't trying to pay proper prices based off of the cost of doing business to the people who are actually doing the producing. So I don't trust the government in that aspect. And then this is also the same government that if the lobbies do enough, they'll look the other way while these people basically break law. So I don't suggest anybody take these subsidies, but specifically black farmers who have dwindled down to almost nothing. I'm fighting an uphill battle trying to even start a farm as a black man in America. Support black farmers, support all farmers. If you have a black one close to you, support him as well, please.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you're doing great. From wherever you're watching me from, I'm your host and presenter H Stars. I want us to talk about something. Just 4 days ago, we saw black farmers, especially in Memphis, refusing to take the $12 billion funding project of Mr. Donald Trump. The reasons why they refuse to take this is commonly known because this funding that was supposed to go to black farmers, it is somehow discriminative. And why am I saying it is discriminative? It is discriminative in this sense. It is discriminated because it refused to cater for black farmers who are planting high value crops. I'm talking about sugarcane, I'm talking about tobacco, right? So this is a discriminatory type of help. Let me use the word help or funding that Mr. Donald Trump is trying to do. And I think what it will do in the long run, if black farmers could have accepted this, it means that it could have polarized black farmers who are planting those type of crops and farmers who are not planting those type of crops, because this type of funding is meant to divide black farmers, black people generally. Because understand, if a certain group of people receives fundings or assistance, the way you want to call it, or the relief program, other farmers don't, there'll be a tension. And this is what it has always been done with white farmers and black farmers. And historically, you know how this goes, because this is something that has been happening for a while now. They used to give white farmers assistance, leaving out black farmers, not caring about black farmers, right? Now, they're trying to do the same with black farmers because, well, they're giving some black farmers this assistance and they're not giving other black farmers this assistance. This will create a polarization within the black community, and the devastating effects that it has. Understand that majority of the problems that white farmers are going right now through, it is because they decided to keep quiet when black people really needed them. But the display that black farmers have shown, it is a great display. They have said, if it doesn't cater for all farmers, we ain't taking it. And it stood out right because they refused to take 12 billion. Understand, 12 billion that they refused to take. So I really want to know what you think and feel about this. So I want us to watch this video. I'll be back and then I'll be sharing my thoughts. I'm your #1 host and presenter H Stories. And if you're watching it for the first time, I'm asking you to please subscribe to the channel, join the membership, and really get to see what I can offer you. But until then, let's get into the video. I'll be back.
In the first 3 months of 2025, 259 farms in the United States filed for bankruptcy, exceeding the total number of farm bankruptcies for all of 2024. This marks the highest number of filings since 2021, according to the University of Arkansas System Division of Agriculture.
So I'm a black farmer, and a lot of people are wondering, why are black farmers not panicking like a lot of white farmers? Well, let me explain to you the reasons why. It's because white farmers have been handed everything to them, a lot of them. Not saying all of them, but a good bit of them. And by that I mean this, MLK even pointed out, he says, farmers in the West and the Midwest who were white, they were given land, they were given money, they were given training, they were given a lot. Whereas the black farmers weren't given anything, and the largest civil rights settlement in U.S. history is Pickford v. Glickman, where you had a class action lawsuit, bunch of black farmers all joined the lawsuit, and they won a huge settlement because the USDA was shown to be racist for decades. So because black farmers haven't been given anything, we've been learning to do without, unlike your white farmers. So when things are taken away from you, all your subsidies, all your tax breaks, guess what? You panic. Whereas we've always been going through this shit. So There's problems in privilege.
Black farmers across the U.S. will finally see some relief from the latest stimulus bill. Under Trump, 99.5% of financial aid for the trade war and roughly 97% of coronavirus aid went to white farmers. Under the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, approximately $4 billion have been allocated to farmers of color. This means that Black farmers can have their debts paid off and receive money for loans, grants, outreach, and education.
Regarding all these farmers that are now crying about possibly losing their farms because they voted for Trump, this is why you absolutely should not feel bad for any of these farmers that voted for Trump. Now, the ones that didn't vote, yes, feel sorry for them, go support them, do whatever you need to do. But the ones that voted for Trump, do not feel sorry for them, and let me tell you why. I am a builder, and I've been building shit in Oklahoma City going on like 20 years now, and farmers are not stupid. If you have the ability to manage a farm and understand the weather, the climate, your machinery, the chemistry that goes into your crops, you are not a stupid person. You're just not. And especially when you come from generational farming, you have the ability to look ahead and predict what you need to survive. And so when you have two candidates where you have Kamala Harris on one side giving you a whole fucking list of shit that she's going to do for you and make your life better, and then you have Trump on the other side who can't even come out with a normal sounding sentence, and you still vote for that guy, and you are a farmer, you are either racist or sexist or both. And they're only crying now because now they are being treated exactly how they voted for other people to be treated. Got that? They are being treated how they voted for other minorities, people of color, everybody else, poor people, sick people. That's how they voted for other people to be treated. And now they're the ones being treated that way by losing their livelihood, their homes, their income, their farms. So do not feel sorry for them. This is exactly what they had coming. Quick follow-up as to why exactly would Trump be doing this to farmers anyways, and I'm guessing 99% chance it's because he wants to bankrupt farms so his corporate buddies can come in and do a land grab. Basically what you have been seeing the last few years, major companies buying up a bunch of rental houses and jacking up the price of rents, and it's all going to corporations. It's probably something similar to let these farms go to foreclosure and his corporate buddies be able to come in, swoop them up, and now you've got bigger companies involved in more of our day-to-day food.
You know, I'm seeing all these videos right now where all these farmers are crying about not getting no help right now. You know what? Let me ask you something. When have you ever heard of a black farmer crying about it? Never. And you want to know why? Because they ain't never got no help in the first place. That's right. USDA is literally admitted to discriminating against black farmers. And literally black farmers had to sue, thousands of them, to get what white farmers are handed for free. And fast forward to today, all these farmers crying that they can't get no help. You see, black farmers, they've been struggling. Y'all just now feeling what they've been feeling for over 100 years. Black farmers, they used to own over 19 million acres of land. But guess what? Systematic racism, denied loans, shady politicians, and legal loopholes wiped them all out. Yeah. And now they're 1% of America's farmland. When the government finally tried to pass relief for the black folk back in 2021, white farmers sued to block it, claimed it was reverse discrimination. Make that make sense. So, you know, next time you see folks complaining about farm aid, why don't you ask them, where's the help for the black farmers? Ask them why their struggle is just now important when others have been suffering for centuries. subsidies.
Bro, this to the black farmers who turned down that money from Trump. Look, it's gonna take a hustler, but y'all can do it, cause for real, y'all in the best position. Y'all got the product. Y'all cut the middleman out y'all shit. Y'all just don't know it. Bruh, if y'all get together and go to those different countries where they didn't secure any trade agreements for the produce and the livestock, the stuff that y'all grow and farm, y'all need to go over there y'all self and go talk to them people. Like, bro, hey, we the one got it. You know what I'm talking about? Them folk probably give y'all money to produce y'all shit. And since it's boats and planes coming back and forth constantly, bruh, either rent a space on a boat or lease one. Like, it's a way to do it, bruh. Like, and y'all ain't gotta wait on the government, that like the US government. Y'all can go do y'all shit. And the only thing y'all gotta deal with is the import and export. You know what I'm saying? So, bruh, stop waiting for them folk to goddamn do right by us, bruh. You know, it ain't never been happening your mama, your grandma, nobody lifetime that they ever did it right, bruh. So stop waiting for them to do it. Boot up, bruh. Y'all got the product. Y'all the plug. What you saying? Y'all got the move, bruh. What you waiting on somebody to move it for you for? Y'all know who want it.
Okay, I want to address something that I saw on YouTube in regards to a question on why we are not hearing from a lot of black farmers during the midst of this economic decline here in the United States. A lot of black farmers have had to learn to be self-sufficient without government support. So in my opinion, that's why you're not really hearing from a lot of black farmers right now, because there's not a lot of us, and a lot of us don't have loans like that. There's been a push, I know, within my circle of people to make sure that your land is paid off and that you are not relying upon the government in order to feed your family. Yeah, that's just my opinion, but what we can do is go and talk to Dad and see what Dad has to say about all of this. Yeah, so let's go check on Dad, like I was saying, and have him give his opinion on. So just to finish our conversation about why you don't see a lot of black farmers online complaining about what's going on with the USDA and farm benefits and how they're getting ready to lose their farm. Like I said, a lot of it is systematic, and a lot of us didn't. First of all, the decrease in farmers have been happening since 1990. Like, it's real bad. I think it's only 1% of farmers that's black right now that's registered with the USDA, and they're black. There's only 1% compared to where it used to be, what, I think 13%? So it's dropped substantially, like ridiculously low. A lot of black farmers have lost their land through eminent domain, through systematic issues, and so there's, number one, there's not a lot of black farmers. And number two is when it's time to give out benefits or to help people to further their farm, black farmers are often overlooked. They don't allow black farmers to get, it's just a fact. There's been a history of discrimination, so they're not able to get loans and other benefits that come from the USDA to continue in business, and so that's another issue. And so you don't see a lot of black farmers relying on the USDA like that. So they're not going to be online complaining like you have other farmers that's out in Nebraska and other parts of the United States who are white farmers. You're not going to see black farmers talking like that because, number one, most of them are living debt-free. They're not involved in the programs from the USDA, and there's not a lot of us here in the United States. So a thing that I wanted to kind of like bring up, what my dad has always taught me, and he has said it recently out there where we were putting the pine needles around the iris, the bearded iris. Dad always has told me, and because of my accounting background and because Dad has spoken this into my ear so often, he always talks about keeping the man out of your pocket. Mm-hmm. And when he says that, I think a lot of people think, oh, he's talking about the white man, keep the white man out your pocket. It's more than just, I guess, that. It's more of a systematic, like keep the government, keep the corporations, keep the system from putting you in a position of debt where you are not able to maneuver during times of decline. And I think that's what you mean, right, Dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Back in my days, we had farmers that really couldn't read and write, but they had vast acres of land, like the Majors, the Pace, Molly Mays. Yeah, and you can name all of them, you know. We had so many, right in the Goose community, you know, in the Homestead community, and the Perrine community. We had, but their thing was to keep the man out of their pocket. And if a person that can't read and write know how to keep the man out of the pocket, what do you think about? Yeah, think about an educated person, you know. So we have to go back to the old school and stop getting all these loans and keep ourselves update with the laws, the new laws coming out, and pay your property tax, pay your property tax, pay your property tax. And another thing, set up your property with a trust fund.
That way it bypasses probate.
Yeah. And do these
Keep
things.
the system out of your business. Like
Yeah. And then if you have a farm, get the family together on a monthly basis and talk about business, you know. Just have, hey, every third Sunday, every fourth Sunday, we'll come to the house and have a sit down and we talk about business and finance, you know. We got to start doing that, you know. Because if we don't do it, then ain't nobody else going to help us, you know. So minimize the man in your pocket, pay off know the difference between things that appreciate and things that don't appreciate.
That appreciate, right?
Yeah. And make sure you understand the difference. And try to pay off your house, try to pay off your land.
Don't have a car note. Even the type of cars that we buy, they're salvage units. We never buy no new car off the lot.
No new cars, no.
Salvage units are the best.
Yeah.
I had my salvage unit for years, and it only cost me $5,000. My son has a salvage unit. Everybody has a salvage unit. So we don't buy new cars because we know that as soon as you drive them off the lot, they depreciate. So we do a lot to minimize overhead. And I think that's what's going on, why you don't see a lot of particularly like black farmers online complaining about what's happening in this economy, because you're not going to hear them talk about getting ready to lose their land.
And for the equipment, back in the days, black farmers knew how to network. You know what I mean by network? If they had a tractor, they let another black farmer use that tractor, you know?
It's still going on today.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to go back to that.
When we went to visit Loretta and Mr. Sam,
down in Augusta?
Yeah, in Augusta, they have a network
bad network.
Oh, their network was really good, awesome, with younger farmers and also neighboring farmers all helping each other, and they're all black, and so they're relying on each other for support and growth. Yeah. So yeah, tractors are involved in that, and You know, when one person don't have something, the other person does. So there's a community of support.
I remember when my daughter first bought this property, and people was talking about negativity. And they didn't see the beauty of it. Now they see the beauty of it, and they're upset like hell. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, whatever you decide to do, you pray about it, you know, and listen to yourself, and you go forward, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's the people back in the 50s, the 40s, the 30s, the 20s could do what they did. We could do even better if we stop this mess around, you know what I'm saying? Concentrate on what we put here to do. Right. And we'll be able to go to the next level.
And stay away from them loans.
Yeah.
Because if you have loan on your land and then loan on your house and then loan on your equipment, I think you're guaranteed to fail.
Yeah, that money,
in this system.
Yeah, that money sounds good, you know what I'm saying, when you get it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get ready to pay it back, it's a headache.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get through this without crying. My name is Louise, and me and my family own a wheat farm in Kansas. We are all certainly lifelong Republicans, and we were so happy to vote for Trump in all 3 of his elections. However, we were certainly not aware that he was going to put a funding freeze on all USAID. 100% of our wheat produce is bought by USAID and shipped out of the country. So our farm is completely bankrupt. We have no customer. We had this whole deal with the US government, and now that is just gone in a second. And we are completely decimated. USAID buys about $2 billion worth of American farmers' goods annually, and every single one of those farms is in the same boat as us now. It's a sinking boat. He didn't consider us at all when he made these decisions, and it would be impossible for any world leader to do something that could negatively affect us more.
Well, the Democrats were right again, and it turns out the farmers of Iowa are completely shit out of luck, specifically because they voted for Trump, okay? Because his policies have double fucked them, okay? Starting with USAID. Now, you might say, why would USAID be connected to the farmers of Iowa? Well, turns out that USAID was one of their most reliable customers. We were spending up to $2 billion every year buying soybeans from them and then shipping them overseas to feed poor, starving children. Until our Christian president got in office and he said, "What? We are sending food overseas to feed hungry children? For Christ's sake, shut that down immediately." Well, in doing that, they have now taken away the second largest, most reliable customer for these soybean farmers in Iowa. Now, who was their number one customer? Well, it used to be China. And up until recently, they were buying 60% of our soybean exports out of America. But Daddy Trump came in and jacked up these tariffs, started a trade war with China, and now these soybean farmers have lost their number one customer. So now these soy boys are sitting on a Scrooge McDuck level of soybeans with absolutely nobody to sell them to. And that is why they are begging Daddy Trump for a bailout and for him to cut the shit with China so we can get rid of these tariffs. You know, it's amazing. Trump supporters put him in office hoping that he would just ruin the lives of all the people who they hated. But they didn't realize that Trump isn't on their team. He's on Team Billionaire, not on Team Farmer or Team Trucker or Team Everyday American. He only cares about rich people. Anyway, happy Sunday, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed your weekend. Football is back. Hell yeah, very exciting for all of us who are still able to watch it, despite the fact that there are male cheerleaders now. Oh. Anyway, guys, I love you. I'll be back tomorrow. Talk to you soon.
Let me tell you a little story about why they're trying to wipe out the farmers. Once upon a time, organic food was just food. Grass-fed beef was just beef. And raw milk, that's right, it's just milk. Crazy, right? But then things started to change. Farmers who just want to grow real healthy food for the people were forced to legally use government-issued pesticides and chemicals. This ruined the land and made the people sick. Then came the schemes. Farmers were offered money. They were literally paid to not grow food. Instead, they were told to grow wildflowers and scatter birdseed. Sounds nice on the surface, but what happens when less food gets grown? Prices rise and scarcity sets in. At the same time, fertilizer costs quadrupled. And here's the kicker. £500 million was taken away from our farmers and handed to farmers abroad. You have to ask yourself why. They blame the so-called climate crisis and say cows' farts are the problem. Really? Meanwhile, the world's largest landowners are pushing for us to eat bugs and lab-grown foods. It's just all part of the agenda. To 1, control what goes into our food. 2, to wipe out the farming industry piece by piece. And 3, to make sure family farms are lost to inheritance tax forever. It's all part of the bigger plan. Because remember this, no farmers means no real food. When you control the food supply, you control the people. So here's what you can do. Support your local farmers whenever you can. Buy from farm shops. Choose grass-fed, hand-reared meats, unhomogenized milk, and real free-range eggs. Stop filling your body with supermarket food-like products. These are designed to keep you weak. Because every time you buy local, you're keeping real food alive.
So, hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are great. Now, the refusal of some black farmers in Memphis to accept the Trump-era farmer bridge assistance. This all shows a long historical pattern in U.S. agricultural policy where relief programs appear as neutral on paper but function in racially exclusionary ways in practice. These farmers argued that the programs designed excluded producers of crops such as tobacco, sugarcane, and livestock, sectors where many black farmers are disproportionately represented. Their protest was not simply about one program, but about the legacy of discrimination embedded in how federal farm assistance has been structured and administered for more than a century. Also in the same line, black farmers, you understand, that have faced systemic barriers to land ownership, credit, insurance, and governance support. After emancipation, black Americans briefly gained access to land through informal arrangements and limited federal interventions. But these gains were quickly undermined by sharecropping, debt, peonage, and racial terror. By the early 20th century, federal agricultural institutions emerged as powerful gatekeepers of resources, and black farmers were largely excluded from their benefits. And this structural exclusion laid the foundation for massive decline in black farm ownership over time. Like for real, right? And one of the most important institutions in the history of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, that's the USDA. For decades, you understand that the USDA distributed loans, distributed subsidies, and disaster relief through local county committees dominated by white landowners. And these committees often delayed, denied, or sabotaged black farmers' application, making it nearly impossible for them to compete. Numerous investigations and court cases later confirmed that this discrimination was not accidental. It was a systemic way, and it affected generations of black agricultural producers. And now you understand the devastating effects that this has towards black people. Right. Now, crop eligibility has been a key mechanism of exclusion. Understand that federal programs have historically prioritized large-scale commodity crops such as corn, soybeans, wheat, and cotton. Sectors dominated by white-owned agribusiness, black farmers, by contrast, were more likely to raise livestock, grow specialty crops, or engage in diversity farming. When assistance programs restrict eligibility to certain crops, they effectively erase the farming practices common among black producers, even while claiming to offer universal relief. So this is what has been happening at the you know at the back door of all this truth that we are right now seeing. Now, the Trump era assistance program followed this familiar pattern, right? While framed as emergency relief for farmers armed by trade wars and market disruptions, the structure of the aid often favored large commodity producers. When black farmers in Memphis pointed out that tobacco, sugarcane, and livestock producers were excluded, they were identifying a structural bias rather than an administrative oversight. From their perspective, accepting such funds would legitimize the system once again treated them as invisible. And that's why I started this discussion by polarizing black farmers. Because when they do this, all they're going to be doing, they're just going to be polarizing black farmers and just doing the opposite of, just doing the same exact script what has been happening between white farmers and black farmers. And it became so much difficult for black people to stand together with white people, especially when they were going through all those challenges that they were facing, right? And this exclusion is especially significant given in dramatic loss of black-owned farmland in the United States. In 1920, black farmers owned roughly 14% of U.S. farms, and today, they own less than 2%. Scholars widely agree that this decline cannot be explained by market force alone. Discriminatory lending, denial of subsidies, lack of legal protection, and unequal access to technical assistance all played divisive roles. Modern relief programs that ignore this history risk reinforcing the same unequal patterns, right? So the refusal of funds, therefore, can be understood as an act of political resistance, rather than viewing government as aid inherently beneficial. Black farmers really went down and assessed whether this program addressed their actual needs and historical disadvantages. You see, by rejecting this assistance, they deemed discriminatory. They were challenging the legitimacy of a policy framework that consistently marginalized them. This mirrors earlier momentums when black farmers organized cooperatives, filed lawsuits, or publicly protested USDA practices to force accountability, right? So we need to look at legal cases such as the Pigford versus the Glickman in the late 1990s, which provide a crucial context. You understand that in this case, black farmers successfully sued the USDA for decades of racial discrimination in loan programs. Although the settlement acknowledged wrongdoing, many farmers never received compensation. And the structural problems still persisted. The Memphis farm's skepticism towards new aid initiative is shaped by these experience. Promises of fairness have often followed, not preceded, exclusion. So, from a policy perspective, the controversy reveals how colorblind approaches can perpetuate racial inequality. When assistance is distributed without considering historical disadvantages, existing disparities are often reproduced. Problems that fail to include the crops and farming models common among black farmers effectively reward those who are already positioned to benefit. Thus, discrimination operates not only through explicit racism, but through policy design, choices that appear neutral while producing unequal results. So, in sum or in general, this is all I can say. The Memphis farmers' refusal shows a deeper critique of American agricultural policy because their stance underscores that discrimination against black farmers is not merely a relic of the past, but an ongoing structural reality. Exclusion from crop eligibility, unequal access to subsidies, and distrust, which is rooted in historical experience, all converge in moments like these. Now, understanding that their decision requires recognizing that for black farmers, fairness is not measured by the size of a funding package, but by whether the system finally breaks with a long history or a racialized exclusion. Brothers and sisters, I'm your host and presenter, Tech Stories, and thank you for taking your time watching the video. As you know, again, I'm your number one host and presenter, Tech Stories. Until then, I'm hoping to see you in my next video. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.